Unfortunately, the weather wasn't exactly summery and that, and we fired straight back into the deep end, but well, that's life. And then, Stacey, I believe you're going to do the opening for us.
Thank you. Always in the big woods, when you see familiar ground, step off alone into the new place, where there will be, along with feelings of curiosity and excitement and a little nagging of dread. It is the ancient fear of the unknown, and it's your first bond into the wilderness you are going to. It's from Wendellberry. As we begin our first council meeting of the year, Wendellberry's words remind us stepping into the new ground brings both anticipation and uncertainty. That feeling is familiar to communities like Waimate, that is shaped by resilience, practical thinking, and a willingness to face change head on. A new year brings new challenges, responsibilities, and opportunities for Waimate and our wider district as we move together, and we may approach the work ahead with curiosity, care, and respect for the unknown, knowing that there is often our strongest decisions and our most meaningful progress is made.
Thanks, David. And we need to talk to the staff to have to get Council Hall's name badge changed. Yes. And that, I think congratulations on the nuptials over the Christmas break.
Thank you.
And so that's that. Probably just want to mention one thing on a more sombre note is obviously our thoughts go out to the tragedy at Mount Maunganui with the families that have lost loved ones up there and the 2 people that were killed in the landslide, and our thoughts also go out to all the councils of the North Island that are struggling with. I don't know where we're heading at. I just feel so sorry for them. That flood damage around particularly Northland and the East Coast, and that it would just be a nightmare. And it was quite interesting to listen to the news last night. A couple of the people there that said, we will get on, we will clean it up, and we will carry on. And that's sort of the attitude of New Zealanders. And I looked at one of the camping grounds around the East Coast. It's under about 6 feet of debris and mud and all the rest of it. And I just, there, but by the grace of God go I that we missed it. And that, so it just brings home to me the importance of resilience and doing things right, and that to make sure that we minimise that sort of damage if we're unlucky enough to go through that. It makes our issues with some of our rural roads and a bit of minor washouts seem to pale into comparison. So just a thought. No public forum that I am aware of. There's no apologies because we have everybody here. Visitors, no visitors that I'm aware of. No. Conflicts of interest. Councillors are reminded that if they have any pecuniary interest in the item on the agenda, they must declare the interest and refrain from discussing or voting on the item and are advised to withdraw from the meeting table. Does anybody have any conflicts of interest in relation to anything in the agenda today? No. Thank you for that. Identification of minor or major items. There's none that I am aware of. So moving on to the minutes of the council meeting held on the 16th of December 2025. On page 7, I will take them as read. Is there any alterations, corrections or discussion? Does not have somebody move the minutes. Move Councillor Guildford, seconded Councillor Small. Put the motion. All in favour say aye. Aye. Against, carried. Thank you for that. Moving on to the Mayor's report. I'll take it as read. I should say the Mayoral Forum is back underway again. I attended a meeting last Friday. I've got another one this Friday as we move into the new discussions around the form and function of local government as we move through. As I said, I'll keep you updated with how that's going. And we need to start thinking about what we want our district to look like as we go through these challenging times. Other than that, it was all pretty much all go. The only thing I probably would like to raise is Lynn and I attended the Ag Hub fundraiser at the Shares Pavilion, and that great night. Great amazing project, and I know that your email, and we'll discuss how council can assist with that project as we move into the future. Unfortunately, with budget times are tough, and we don't probably have a lot of money to go that way, but I'm sure we can assist in other ways. And that, but it was an amazing time, and I met the new principal of the high school, and really nice guy. So it sounds like he's got some really big plans for the high school as well. So I think it's in really good hands. So looking forward to catching up with him early in the year and keeping that relationship going. We all know that it's one of the key things when people come to our district and are looking to shift here. And I think the first thing they look at is the high school, and the second thing they look at is doctors and that. So we need to be active in both those spaces. So happy to answer any questions if anybody has any. If there's not, I'm happy to move my report. I have a seconder. Seconder, Councillor Stevens. Put the motion, all in favour say aye. Aye. Against, carried. Moving on to the councillor's report on page 20. If there's anything you'd like to highlight, anybody, you're more than welcome. I know it's probably been a quieter time of the year, just running up to Christmas. Councillor Guildford.
Just like to recognise the value that I've found in the LGNZ zones, and just having access to that resource, that compiled resource and information. I found those really informative, just trying to get my head around all of the many proposals coming our way. So just really wanted to acknowledge that.
And I think it's going to be a key resource as we move through this next 12 months, because with so much reform and change coming, I know LGNZ have got quite a bit planned in the way of webinars and information sharing and things like that. So we will make sure that we keep up with that. And of course we'll have, I think I got a message from Dan at Waimate the other day to say that the zone committee, zone 4 and 5 meetings coming up, I think it's March, I think I saw something, and that, so I'll let you know when and where that is. And normally I'd like to take a couple of councils up to that if anybody's keen to go and that, but we'll keep you informed.
I just found the Q&As at the end of the, because I watched them delayed coverage, but the Q&A section at the end where the councils were asking the questions and that, you know, touched on some of the stuff that I had in my head. So yeah, if people haven't had a chance to look at those.
Yeah, I think there's another webinar coming up very shortly. I saw.
There's a few in the next month. So.
Yeah. So
It'd be nice if it was easier to get on.
Yeah.
This time, actually, over Christmas, I found it much easier to get, like, just straight click through.
Oh, maybe
links.
something's changed.
So yeah, definitely better than it was before Christmas.
If you're having issues, I'm sure if you get hold of the IT team through myself or Stuart, we can sort that. I know it is problematic at times, but we'll see what we can do. Anything else anybody else would like to bring up? If there's not, can I have somebody move the councillor's report? Move Councillor Begg, second to Councillor McElwee. Put the motion, all in favour say aye. Against, carried. Moving on to the Chief Executive's report. I'll hand over to Stuart. If there's anything you want to highlight, Stuart?
Nothing to highlight. It's pretty light. I haven't been travelling much, but unless there's any questions.
Just around the DIA visit.
We had 2 officers from DIA who had passed through Waimate after meeting with Mackenzie District Council, and we discussed, I'm just trying to think, it was Dan and myself, who else from council? Yep, and yourself, Mayor. And we discussed local water done well, local government generally. Some interesting things did come out of it. We raised a couple of matters that we're looking at with our own in-house water services unit, which is making sure that New Zealand has a good group of cadets coming through in terms of qualified water technicians, and that each internal business unit and CCO around the country should endeavour to try and put on a cadet to make sure that we're building that skilled workforce, and it's something they picked up on. But the rest was just a general conversation.
I must chase Paul up actually, because he did say that maybe government could help when it came to the because they actually really like the idea of a cadet and that. Probably another thing I think that came out of that, Jackie, was that DIA, I think very comfortable with where we're at. That came across. Dan, I think that's fair in saying that.
That's excellent. Thank you.
That was a good meeting.
Yeah.
Right, if there's no other questions for Stuart, I'm happy to move that his report is accepted. Have a second. Second to Councillor Patterson. Put the matters all in favour, say aye.
Aye.
Against carries. Moving on to the outstanding council action report on page 23. It's just a couple of items there. I know that Stuart has written to the Fens, chasing up that appliancing again.
It's time to write again.
Any questions in relation to that?
Just with that, I'm sorry,
Yep.
with the Fens one, if it's not progressing, what's the bonus of us just keeping that asset here? And not handing it over to them?
It has been handed
It
over.
has been handed over to them.
It's correct, Dan, isn't it?
Yep.
Has been handed over.
It has.
So they've had the assets for a number of years.
Oh, yeah.
It's the fact that we have a reserve sitting here that is being paid by the ratepayers, which is probably sitting at around 90k-ish. But now, well, when Fens was formed, it was a little bit slow to come through, but what we're worried about now is our ratepayers are not only paying down that reserve, they're also paying their Fens fee through their insurance rates.
Right, yeah.
So they're double dipping our ratepayers to pay for those units now. What we've said to them is, it'd be really, really nice for Fens to step up and pay the balance of that reserve. And that's what we're chasing. And the last letter I wrote on the 16th of the 12th, we gave them 3 options for which they could come back to us and deal with that reserve over a longer period of time or lump sum. So I'll have to chase it up again because I just don't think it's fair on our rate. That's good.
No, I was just thinking if there was some way that we could just make that a win for us because they've had all the opportunities to do what they've been asked to do, so now we'll just do what we need to do to make it work for our ratepayers, but
Repossess it.
yeah, basically,
Didn't hand the debt collector.
yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately it's the usual thing, they've got no money, so they keep telling us. Right, so there's no other questions about the outstanding council action report. Have somebody move the report? Move Councillor Small, seconded Councillor Stevens, put the motion all in favour, say aye. Aye. It's carried. Moving on to page 26, which is the human resources report. Good morning, Grace.
Good morning all. I take it this report is read. Any questions?
Any questions for Grace? Councillor Guilford.
Mine is just more around the table that's presented at the end. Is it possible to have a section in there that has the roles that are currently under recruitment so that we have that, just everything all in one place so it's really clear like how many actual roles we're intending to have?
So through you, Mr. Chair, I don't mind doing that.
Yeah.
Sometimes it might be that we've filled the role by the time we've come into the meeting.
Yeah.
but we
Yeah.
can always
I
do
just
that.
say maybe if they're not in the employed section, that they're in that pending / recruitment section, because I think that just gives us a more complete picture. Is that possible?
If that's what you'd like to see, no problem.
Yeah. Great report, really good to see the progress being made. You are very busy.
Any other questions for Grace at all? If there's not, can I have somebody move the human resources report? Move Councillor Beck, second to Councillor Guilford, put the motion all in favour, say aye. Against carried. That was easy. Thank you, Grace. Moving on to agenda item 16.1, which is the establishment of the Waimate District Water Services Committee. Good morning, Dan and Nicole.
Morning, Mr. Mayor. Bishop and councillors, thank you. Welcome back. And welcome back to a bit of a meaty subject. Get underway. I think just very quickly, Dan and myself and Tina met on several occasions to bring this paper together. So it has been a cross collaboration of the various teams and trying to find that middle ground of interpreting how Dan and Stuart, along with conversations with you, had felt the water committee should be set up. I'm not going to say too much because it's more sort of Dan's and Stuart's arena. So I'll take the paper as read at this stage, and probably most of the questions would be for Dan and for Stuart, so I'll hand over if I may.
So through you, Mr. Mayor, so we've had a bit of discussion. I think we should open to the floor those discussion points so we can get this into the shape that you find it acceptable to sign off on.
Just number 23D, or 23, item 3D, independent Runanga appointee, appointed by Runanga and agreed by Ngāi Tahi, was my understanding that it would be a recommendation from the Runanga, which we would be involved in, but the council would appoint the member of the Runanga.
Okay, it was, well, I interpret this as them choosing somebody to send in your direction, and then you decide how and if that person is the right fit for the group. So apologies if that wasn't very clear.
I just, this isn't about the Runanga. All the other persons are appointed by the council, and I just think it's sits under the council, so we appoint them.
So that is correct.
Yes.
Okay.
It's just a process thing.
It's a minor thing.
Yeah, so can we just maybe tweak the wording to clarify that point so that everybody is really clear that the council is the final appointee?
Absolutely.
So through the mayor, so if we change that to nominated.
Correct.
Yeah.
Which is the language I have used with local Runanga today.
Excellent.
So it's clarification.
Take out the word appointed from that.
Yeah,
particular
nominated,
clause.
yes. Councillor Gilbert?
I would just like to really highlight and reiterate that I know it was discussed when this plan was written, and thank you for this documentation, by the way, this is really excellent information. That for me, I think this is the single biggest project we're going to do for our community in this term. There is a whole lot coming our way, but it's so important that we get this right. And I just really want to reiterate the importance of that skill-based section in this, that we are, that has to be our biggest focus, that we're appointing people that are bringing value and adding skills to that table.
Just for a comment for the record, we also discussed the timing of the establishment of the committee, so there was a quick discussion before Christmas with me, and it is my opinion to be supported today that we move forward with the appointment of the chair as soon as possible. So the chair is then involved in the formulation of the board and other matters surrounding that board, if it's supported by the council.
Right, so I guess just for me is that, listen, congratulations to the team. I think it's a really well put together document. I think that we have to get it right. We don't have an option. We need to get this right, because I want to make sure that this council can show to government that we can do what we said we were going to do. And that sort of thing. And I think this is a really good first step. Looking forward to meeting the chair and getting that process underway. So yeah, I think it's a really good document.
Do we need a formal motion about appointing a chair, or is
No,
it can just be left? Okay.
I think today, if we can adopt an amended report, we will get on and make sure that what you have requested is, by way of appointments, is carried out. But I think when the recommendation and of the other members should be presented to you through the chair for approval.
Yeah. Well, it's critical that the chair is part of that recruitment phase.
Okay.
Alright, so we have a recommendation on page 33, one that the establishment of the Water Service Committee report is accepted, and then 2, A, B, C and D, 1 through 7. I've changed 5 to independent Runanga nomination appointed by council. And then obviously around the item 3 around the remuneration of those members. I'm happy to move the motion with that amendment. Do I have a second? Seconded Councillor Begg. I'll put the motion. All in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. Just like that. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, councillors, that was great.
Look forward to it.
Yes, let's go.
We can move on.
Get up and running.
Choose on, marathon begins.
Yeah. Righto, moving on to the next agenda item, which is the Waimate Water Services Committee Policy Review. Again, we'll take it as read. We'll hand over to Nicole and Dan for comments.
And again, this is in support of your water committee to set up delegations and supporting policies to allow that group to exist and start. And we'll be bringing other policies as this group starts to form over this next year that are in alignment with the water strategy and the direction once the chair is in place and the committee's formed, and they review any other policies with Dan and with Stuart that need to come forward to you. So on that, I will leave it there and take any questions.
Oh, any questions for?
No, I'm happy to move that we accept these amendments to the policy. I think they're all quite straightforward, and we need to make sure this is possible and these protect us and make sure it's included. So.
Cool. It's been moved, Councillor Guildford, seconded Councillor Stevens. Put the motion. All in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. To that.
Okay, thank you very much, councillors.
Moving on to 16.3 on page 101, which is the Local Government New Zealand 4-monthly report to July to December 2025. Good morning, Tina.
Hi everyone. So as you'll be aware, for those that have seen these reports before, they're included on your agendas with the purpose of just generating some discussion, cover a wide range of topics. So I'll leave it to council to identify which areas you might like to focus on today. Broad range in there for you.
Yeah, there is. Yep, that was just about everything. And that. So thanks, Tina. I'll kick it off with. I think it's good to see that that LGNZ is starting to come to the fore with a lot of the discussions that are going around. And I know the discussions I've had with likes of Dan Elrick on the zone committee is that they need to get out and tell us more what they're doing and that, so that people see the value that's come out of it. We've already discussed around the value of the webinars and information that's coming out. I went to the Mayor's induction in Wellington after the election. That was actually probably the best one, I think, that there's been. They can be a bit ho-hum, but it was very, very good. Looking forward to the information that's going to come out as we move through the future for local government legislation and the rates capping legislation and the RMA legislation changes and every other thing that's coming our way down the train track. So I think they're going to be a valuable resource as we move forward over the next couple of years at least.
So technical expertise and their capacity to research and dive into the legislation and what that practically means for us, I think is really valuable. We've had the opportunity to learn a lot around the RMA stuff and the big legislative change, but I do have a question around the emergency management reform. And just it said that there was going to be legislation coming out and which is likely to have significant impacts on local government. Do we have any more on that change?
Yeah, it's been workshopped quite frequently by group, Canterbury Regional Staff, and they have a submission that's just been signed off, or about to be signed off by KEG, which, sorry, it's through the mayor, I should have said, once that's signed off by Chief Executive Group, but that involved all local territories in Canterbury.
And likely implications for our council?
Not many.
I know some of the conversations has been around. putting more emphasis on councils to properly resource civil defence.
Which we are
And that,
doing.
so we could see some legislation that says a percentage of rates has to be spent on civil defence, that sort of thing. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yeah, it's just again that devil will be in the detail.
Well, we've seen over the last few weeks, haven't we, the important role that civil defence plays.
Various.
And that, so it's critical that it is resourced as it should be, and probably one of the major things that our rural ratepayers do partake in is around civil defence. So
Thank you for that. That was really my main question, because the other stuff is all.
I want to ask about the ratepayer assistance scheme. Is that something that we should be getting behind, or?
we do, and that and I think it's coming up later on in today's discussion. But we do push the ratepayer assistance scheme, and our staff do every time we have a big push for it. And looking at the stats, we're sort of reasonably well up there with the number or the percentage of people that we do have on the ratepayer assistance scheme.
So that's the subsidy, but this new proposed scheme is like the loan type system. I'm just a bit concerned about debt burdens.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to be
pushing debt down the road for people that it's eventually going to have to be collected. So I'm a little bit concerned about actually the impact on vulnerable people.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, it's basically reverse mortgaging, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's my worry, and people will go into it without understanding, but again, until we see the full detail.
Yeah, I was looking more as like from a development point of view, because you're pushing things out a little bit further rather than the big upfront payments and stuff. So that's I wasn't looking at the other. I was looking at the other end of the economic spectrum. Go for it.
So I have just been privy to a little bit of a high level. It was actually at the LGFA Shareholders Borrowers Day that there was a short presentation on this, but until such time as all the details are available, I think that's when it would be appropriate for us to do an assessment and bring a discussion to council. I had a gut feel that I'm not sure that it's something that I'd be strongly encouraging, but that's not my decision. We'll see a little bit more information.
This thing is obviously gaining traction. Where is it gaining traction from? Who's actually pushing
I'm
this?
trying to think of what council it was. There's been a bit of history with it, in that it has there's been certain councils that have been sort of funding the looking at it and the development into it, and some of them have dropped out and others are still hanging in there and are keen to see it come to fruition. I can't remember the names of the councils off the top of my head.
More to come.
That's the thing, there's so much stuff that you can talk about in here, but so much of it is still hairy and up in the air, that it's like, well, what's the point? We might as well just wait and see what happens. It's kind of what I feel like you can waste a whole lot of time.
Not much point, until it's okay, this is where it's landed.
Yeah, exactly.
For us.
Because like all this, they all have implications for the whole ratepayers, not just, because of basically we would have to borrow to fund it.
We wouldn't have our cash flow on the same basis clearly if
so all those implications that flow through, so that's increased for the rest of the ratepayers, because we wouldn't have the cash flow, so we don't get the same interest rates, and it's
add it to the workshop list when it comes in.
I think the big issue that I find with this is it's not fixing the problem.
No,
it's just the cost of rates.
Yeah.
All it's doing is just shifting it to a later date.
Yeah,
and
that's my
and then waiting for people to pass away, and then sell the assets that they've got to repay it. I have trouble with it. Righto, any other questions or comments in relation to the LGNZ report?
To just add, there's been a number of guides updated. Many of them are relevant to you. So just with my governance manager hat on, there's a variety of guides in there that LGNZ can continually update. So just when you've got a moment to take a look at some of those, that would be useful. just to let us know if there's any issues with your accounts, your Akono accounts, and accessing all the resources in there, just to make sure they're all there for you as part of the LGNZ subscription.
I think it's going to be critical as we move forward with the amount of change that's coming so rapidly that we're going to need to lean more heavily on LGNZ to disseminate some of this information and give us some thoughts on it. And like everything, you get out what you put in. So, righto. If there's no other comments, somebody move the report to accepted. Move Councillor Small. Second to Councillor Beck. Put the motion all in favour. Say aye. Aye. Yes, carried. Moving on to 16.4 on page 124, which is risk pool, an update. Tina.
Yes, so we have another update. It is good that we are getting regular updates. Sometimes there's not so much to tell. So as I believe you're all aware, the scheme is in the managed wind down phase. There was the discussion around the trust deed at the November council meeting. So there's a wee update there that they're just plugging their way through, reminding all the councils that they need 90% to have provided their signed consents to approve those amendments to the trust deed. They were sitting at 85% at the time of their update. An update on the litigation that continues and the two claims that were trialled in the High Court in September. So basically a judgment's expected around March, April 2026. So you could expect a further update after that. Reinsurance is the key to hopefully funding these settled or accepted claims. I mean, that's the status. They've provided a little update there as well. So just another reminder that while it is anticipated reinsurance should cover a chunk of that if there's other costs to continue risk pool operating, such as administration, what have you, pools could present. So they have committed to letting us know with as much time as possible in advance of those calls. However, at this stage we take the approach that we're not budgeting for anything because it's difficult to anticipate the size or timing of it until advised. Any questions?
Questions for Tina?
So once this court case are solved or done with, is that going to absolve risk pool, or are they still going to continue on and some more litigation to come?
I'm not aware of anything more that isn't in the
So we could be finishing. No, you don't.
I think that's the intention.
It's the game. That's the end game.
Close the doors on all.
Okay.
Yes. If these matters hadn't been raised, then yes, they certainly would have been dissolved.
You, Mr. Mayor, once these declarations and judgments are made that are in front of us here, that's going to clarify for us our exposure to this a whole lot more than we've got now. We're waiting at the moment.
Yes, and it's hoped that the majority of that exposure is covered through reinsurance.
Yeah.
Seeking.
Thanks. And also that we're little minor players.
Yes.
That's what we have to also remember.
Thankfully.
Thankfully, yeah. Righto, any other questions for Tina? There's not, if somebody moves the report is received, move Councillor Patterson, second Councillor Small, put the motion all in favour, say aye. Aye. Against, carried.
Sorry, I just had a question.
Sorry, yeah.
We've normally got a meeting in progress on those screens. We are live streaming?
Yes, we are.
No, good stop.
Yeah.
Think we don't need to see ourselves.
You know, good idea.
Very good idea.
Right, so we're now moving on to the public excluded section. Can I have somebody move into public excluded? Move Councillor Stevens, second Councillor
This one.
Harrison. It's one of those days. All in favour, say aye. Yes, carried.
So is our live stream?
Streaming paused.